Welcome everyone. Today we're starting a new chapter, chapter 4. Today we're starting with plotting points on a coordinate plane. Now you may have already talked about this in previous years, but today is going to be a review for you then, if you have done that. So the first thing we got to do is look at our coordinate plane. Now there's different parts of a coordinate plane. The y-axis is the line here, the dark black line that goes up and down. The x-axis is the axis that goes side to side. So those are the two main points on our coordinate plane. Those are what we're going to be going off of for our whole plotting points. Now 0, 0, the origin, that is the dead center or the middle of our graph. It's 0, 0 because it goes 0 on our x-axis and 0 on our y-axis. It's still right there in the middle. Now there are 4 parts to our graph, or our coordinate plane here. What they're called are quadrants. Now quadrant 1 is up here in the top right corner. This is positive, positive. So it's positive x's and positive y's. Then they go counterclockwise to quadrant 2. This is negative positive because the x's are negative, but the y's are positive. So it's negative positive. Quadrant 3 is negative negative. So it's negative x's and negative y's. And then finally quadrant 4 is positive negative because there's positive x's and negative y's. Now it asks, what quadrant is Q in? Well, this is point Q. That's our point. Now, to me, it doesn't look like it's in any of our quadrants. It looks to me like it's on this line. So this line is called the x-axis. So this is not in a quadrant. It's on the x-axis. Alright, so now we need to actually graph these, or not graph these, find the coordinates. When we're finding the coordinates, we have a point or an ordered pair that looks like this. We have an x and a y. The x always goes first, and that's the one that goes side to side. Every time that we read this, the x comes first. Then we have a y, and the y goes up and down. So what we need to do is find where these letters are on our graph. Well, let's look for B first. I found B, it's right here. This is our point. Now we got to look to see where it's going on the x-axis or side to side. It's not going anywhere on the x-axis because we just go down. So our first point, our x, is going to be 0. But we do go down negative 1. If we go below our point 0, 0, that's going to be negative. If we go to the left of 0, 0, that's also negative. So this would be a negative 1. This would be a negative 1. And we have positive here and positive here. D is right here. We got to look at our x-axis first. Start at 0, 0, and we go over negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, and negative 4. So our x is negative 4. Our y then, we have to go up because D is above us. 1, 2, 3. So our coordinate is negative 4, 3. F is right here. Now we start at 0, 0 and go over to F. So 1, 2, 3 is our x. Now we don't go up or down at all, so that's going to be 0 for the y. H is right here. Now we're going to the left of 0, so negative 1, -2, -3. And we go down below 0, so -1, -2. K is right here. We go to the left -1 on our x-axis. And we go up 1, 2. Finally, C is right here. We're going over 1, 2, 3, 4. And up 1, 2, 3, 4 to get to C. Now think of this like a map. So we're just trying to tell us or tell somebody else where these points are on the map. If I were to give you 4, 4, you could count out 4, 4 and get to C. If I were to say that F is at 3, 0, they could count out 3 and 0 and get to F. Now it says plot the points in a coordinate plane and then describe the location of the point. Our first point is on 0, -5. So I'm going to go 0 on our x-axis, because remember the x always comes first. Then the y, start at 0, we're not going anywhere, but we are going down -1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is our point 0, 5, and that is Q. Now it's asking us to describe the location of the point. Well, this point Q is on the y-axis. Now our point S, -7, -4, we start at 0, go over on our x-axis, -7, so -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, and -7. Now our y is -4, so we're going to go down on our y-axis, -1, 2, 3, 4. This is our point S. Now we have to describe that location. Now this looks like it's in one of the 4 boxes. Remember, this is quadrant 1, this is quadrant 2, this is quadrant 3, and this is quadrant 4. Quadrant 3 is where S is, so I'm going to say quadrant 3. I'm going to shorten it to quad 3. Or if you wanted to write it in Roman numerals, 1, 2, 3. Point T, we have our y, and we have our x. Our x is the first one, our y is the second one. We're going 3 on the x, 1, 2, 3, and 0 on our y, so we're not going anywhere above that. That is point T. Now this is on the x-axis. And the last one we have is 2, 4. Remember, our x comes first, then our y. So we have an x-axis and a y-axis. So we go over 1, 2, and up 1, 2, 3, 4. That is point R. Now we got to figure out which quadrant that is in. That is in our quadrant 1. So I'm going to write quad 1. Alright, now this last one says graph the function y equals 2x minus 1 with the domain -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. Then identify the range. Now there are a couple words we haven't heard before in this problem. One of them is domain. The other one is range. Whenever you hear the word domain, you think of it as the x. The x is our domain. The range, then, is our y. Now, think back to what we just talked about last week. Function y equals 2x minus 1. Remember, function form was to solve for y. In this problem, y is all by itself. This is what we were trying to solve for last week. We're trying to get y by itself, and then we have a number with an x and another number, which is our constant. So how we're going to graph this is we're going to draw a table. Now this is a different kind of table than some of you may be used to. What I'm going to put is our x here, our y here, and what goes in the middle is I'm going to put our function. So I'm going to put 2x minus 1. Now remember, our domain is our x. So I'm going to put all of my domain numbers in my x spot. So -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. Now what this means is that I now know what x is. So I don't need this x here in the middle anymore. So what I can do then is 2. Instead of x, I can put a -2 minus 1. 2 times -2 is -4. Then -4 minus 1 gives me a -5. So our -5 is our y. I can do the same thing for all of these. I'm just going to put a 2 down for all of them because I know that's what I'm multiplying by. And a -1, -1, -1, and -1. What I'm going to replace x with is -1, 0, 1, and 2. So 2 times -1 is -2, minus 1 is -3. 2 times 0, 2 times 0 is 0, minus 1 is -1. 2 times 1 is 2, minus 1 is 1. 2 times 2 is 4, minus 1 is 3. So we have our table filled out. Now what we got to do to graph this is we got to figure out our points. Now our coordinates are going to be, if you remember, x and y. So I can draw or write coordinates for all of these points. Our x are going to be the domain, are these numbers. So -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. The range are going to be our y numbers, or the y's are going to be in this column. So -5, -3, -1, 1, and 3. So now all we got to do is plot those points. So the first point is -2, -5. Now be careful, these are going up by 2. So this is 2, 4, 6, -2, -4, 2, 4, 6, -2, -4, -6. So -2, go over to -2 on the x, and down to -5 is our first point. -1, go over to -1, then down to -3 is our second point. 0, -1 is our third point. 1, 1 is our fourth point, and 2, 3 is our last point. Now what we can do is we can graph this just by connecting our dots. If we were to keep going, our line would continue up and down. So the last thing we need to do is identify our range. We said our range was our y, so we got to look at our y values. That is our range. So our range is -5, -3, -1, 1, and 3. Alright, that's it for our lesson today. Make sure you put away your iPad, then go see me, and I will get you your next activity.